is none other than Blitz from Blitz DotA. Blitz, how are you doing?
Pretty good. Tired, but other than that, pretty excited to cast some Dota. It's been quite a few days since I've casted my last game, so.
Well, you're going to get right back in there on the ground running here. So since I am not in the game, Blitz will actually be casting the picks for you since I'm just staring at a find a match screen. I'm sure he'll be able to talk about what's actually going on in the picking phase. I'm sure right now nothing interesting.
They can see the picking phase?
They should be able to, I think, on the stream.
Yes. Okay. Then so far we have Panda Band first, then Meow counters it with the Darkseer, then a Tidehunter, then Invoker. Lycan on Fnatic is their last ban, so far pretty standard bans. It looks like Meow's just getting rid of the really big team fight and the defensive heroes, like Invoker and Darkseer. And it looks like Fnatic is banning all those heroes that could potentially give them any sort of trouble. Pretty much like they've gotten rid of all the game-changing heroes, just so even if it is an unknown team, they want to secure their win. And they're going to follow it up with a Furion pick first for Fnatic, which is pretty much the best hero they could have taken here. And predictably, though, Meow is going to take Chen here, which is why they've banned all those defensive heroes. Just because I think they're going to wait. They're going to try to go for broke 20, 30-minute push all in.
Yeah, well, when you're playing against a better team and you know you can't sustain long game against them, might as well try to cheese, right?
Exactly. The bans pretty much tell the story, though, because one side is going to go for an all-out push, and the other is just trying not to mess it up. So.
Windrunner at your service.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So, Windrunner pick up, and almost instantly we see Leshrac and Veno picked. Leshrac right now is the flavor of the month pick, just because Edict punishes so hard for lost team fights, and Lesh is pretty much the best glass cannon for the early mid game that you can possibly get.
Yeah, and he doesn't need really a lot of items either to be really effective, doing so much damage early on. And the damage just scales up so quickly. I mean, you know, the first level of Edict does an insane amount. The second level doubles the amount of damage it does, which is pretty insane for one additional level to double the damage of something.
Yeah, I think he does 1200 mixed damage at level 4, which is, I believe, the highest damage possible for a single spell. That's not an ultimate.
Maybe if you run along with the meteor, Indiana Jones style, you take more than that. I'm not really sure.
There's a good chance, but Indiana Jones did escape it, so.
Yeah, that's true. Well, all right, this is really poor Indiana Jones because he wasn't really prepared for the meteor to be on fire. He kind of got scared for a second and then caught up in it.
No, dude. Harrison Ford doesn't get scared. All right, so we have Night Stalker. A little bit of a surprise pick, but it's actually pretty good here, I think, against Fnatic's lineup. They have really squishy casters, but Fnatic's going to follow that up with a CM and Avenge ban, which is really good here because, well, Meow doesn't actually have any support heroes aside from that Chen. So now Meow is actually going to be kind of stuck with a subpar support hero. There's actually not too many left in the pool as Fnatic immediately took Veno.
Yeah, and with the CM and the VS being banned out, and then Veno as well, there's really not a good candidate for a hero that can roam with the early smoke with Chen once he gets that creep. I mean, yeah, CM and VS, the best candidates for that. Veno obviously works decently, and yeah, I mean, now they'll have to go something like A or Dazzle, which is really just not so good in that situation. Maybe they'll just end up putting the Windrunner in support, although I really hate that.
Yeah, I've seen, I know way back when It's Ghosty used to do Rasta NS, but the only options right now are something like Rasta, Lich, Dazzle. There aren't really many after that. And we're going to see a follow-up pick of Enchantress here, who's a really good counter pick actually to Chen, just because when Chen takes a creep, Enchant can take it back.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you can't have Chen, might as well have Enchantress. And it's pretty good against Night Stalker, who's a bit of a tanky hero, that true damage being very effective against him later on. Although not as effective because I don't know his armor is actually that high. It's not like something like Anti-Mage where you really need the pure damage, but obviously it'll work well. And it's just, yeah. I mean, they're going to definitely be pushing on their own, though. I'm looking at the stream here, a little bit behind you guys, trying to keep up. And, I mean, Leshrac, Veno, Furion, and Enchantress, so I guess maybe like Meow wants to kind of cheese so that they can have a chance to win against Fnatic, but at the same time Fnatic doesn't really consider this to be a challenging game, so they just want to end it in 20 minutes as well. Yeah,
but fantastic pick so far to Fnatic. Really, really, really aggressive lineup. And I think Meow's kind of stumped right now. Taking a long time with this 4th pick. They definitely need to pick up some sort of support. If they're going to put Night Stalker in the tri lane, or the duel with Chen in the jungle, then they're going to need something for mid as well. So things to consider right now for the bans, or for the pick. So yeah, we've got the AA. And there you go. Fnatic's not going to take any chances. They're going to pick up an anti-mage, just in case. If the game goes past 30 minutes and for some reason or another they're not winning, they always have a fallback option to just turtle.
Yeah, interesting because, you know, I mean, typically Night Stalker is picked after an anti-mage pick. Picking anti-mage after Night Stalker sometimes could be considered a little questionable, but I mean, it should be fine because he'll have the Manta quickly enough that the Night Stalker shouldn't be that big of a factor thanks to the early towers they'll take from the Leshrac Furion Enchantress advantage. I mean, and like you said, they just want something to fall back on, and his ability against Night Stalker early on is hampered, but later on, Night Stalker doesn't really affect the anti-mage in any way.
Yes. So I'm going to assume that Ancient is going to be playing support just because I don't know why they would take it otherwise. And so we're probably going to see some sort of mid hero here. I think Night Stalker fell out of the metagame of being mid quite a bit ago. So.
Yeah, well,
right.
It was just, I mean, the dual lane mid with Night Stalker is still quite popular, but obviously the solo mid melees kind of fell out a long time ago, and the Night Stalker, the Doom, stuff like that, except for obviously Panda, but he barely functions like a melee once he gets boots, he can thunderclap offensively pretty easily. But yeah, just because it's so easy to shut down Night Stalker with various strong ranged heroes or a dual lane mid completely shuts down any solo mid melee, so yeah. I assume such. Has Meow actually come out with their 5th pick yet?
Oh yeah, I completely forgot that you weren't in this game. The 5th pick was Shadow Demon.
Okay. Okay. And the game is rehosted maybe yet?
I don't think so, not yet, but
okay. Yeah. Well, Shadow Demon makes sense against Anti-Mage.
Yeah, it's a really good counter pick just because of the disrupt.
Hi guys, welcome back. We are back into the game now. Remade all pick should be starting shortly here. Thanks for hanging out with us and waiting. Just took a couple seconds to get this remade. Of course, they had to change the password on us like 5 times because might as well. But yeah, I don't know. Expecting to see a pretty short game here either way. Well, not either way. I expect Fnatic to win quite quickly, but who knows? Maybe Meow will show us something. All their picks are pretty strong, except for the kind of the questionable Ancient Apparition support, which is a little less popular these days, especially since they don't actually have a lot of stun really to set it up. Obviously, they do have the Disruption Cold Feet combo, but other than that, they don't really have a ton to make that work effectively. But we'll see how they manage.
Yeah, it was more of a bargain pick just because they couldn't really get anything else out of it. So Fnatic needed a ranged support hero, and AA isn't the best to lane with, but his ult is really nice for team fights. So that's one saving grace.
Yeah, they're playing against Enchantress, so the ult actually does have some effectiveness. Obviously, normally at least there would probably be a fast mech on Furion as well, or maybe the Enchantress, depending on farm distribution. And that'll either discourage or prevent that from being as effective. So it looks like they will be setting up obviously the AA Night Stalker top, which will be good enough. I mean, it's just any support in this lane should be enough probably to keep Fly back. Although Fly, based on 4 Iron Branches and that Tangos, I assume he's definitely going to be soloing top because they have a Chen who will be in the or an Enchantress who will be in the jungle. And there'll actually be a solo mid Leshrac, which is, I wouldn't say the most common thing ever. About 50% of the time we actually do get to see Leshrac solo, and it'll be interesting to see Hani doing that.
Yeah, I think actually Shadow Demon should have the advantage here in the lane, but with Furion and the ability for Chen to come in, it kind of makes things a little dicey for him.
Yeah, I mean, Shadow Demon basically beats pretty much anyone in the lane solo, so he should normally have the advantage, but as you talked about, having that Furion, it'll just kind of matter. Furion did go level 1 trees, which makes sense since he's going to be in the sacrifice lane. It'll give him vision off to the right, make it a little bit more difficult for him to get killed, and potentially he will use that to pull the creep wave back to his tower or to double stack the creep wave.
Yeah, I actually think he's missed it.
2 seconds.
Yeah,
I agree.
It was a mistake for him to just use those trees right there. What he should have done is just waited, put 2 trees, and sent one at the top lane, and before it hits the tower, you just pull it back to your tower, so you get a free creep wave. but for some reason, he decided to use it to check the rune. And I think he's actually going to use his 2 treants to try to block the spawns, but not nearly as effective as actually just taking the wave so he doesn't get underleveled.
Yeah, I agree, and especially since he did go level 1 trees, and as we were talking about, with the Shadow Demon having the advantage mid, you're really going to want to get that level 2 or even level 3 as quickly as possible on Furion to try to put pressure on that mid. So yeah, I think this is definitely a bit of a mistake from him. But I don't know, still a little bit new to playing Dota, so maybe not used to playing the solo top Furion as frequently, Fly, that is, so we'll have to see. Also, Era, interestingly enough, going the Stout Shield, but three branches. A little unusual. Normally, if you're going to get a Stout Shield, you just go the Poor Man's Shield and take a Tango from support on Anti-Mage, or if you know you're in a tri lane, you're not going to face the opposing team, you might not even bother with the Stout Shield early on, since it's not actually going to effectively do anything.
I think it's just because he knows he's going to solo against the Windrunner, and he wants to try to negate him with that right click. But I personally would have just gone a Quelling Blade, since if the supports do their job correctly, Windrunner shouldn't actually ever be in the lane.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. I mean, at least not early on. Maybe picking up the Poor Man's Shield a little bit later, which he can obviously just buy from the side shop anyway when the Venomancer and Enchantress do go roaming around rather than staying in the lane, and then he has to actually face the Windrunner would be more effective than getting the Quelling Blade early on.
He might actually just go Vanguard Manta, just so he has early game teamfight presence.
Yeah.
So I actually assume that's what he's actually going to do, because that's the only reason why he would get that kind of start.
Interesting saying someone has a delay on Skype. Shouldn't they be using Raidcall instead of Skype?
Oh, is that an actual... Oh.
Yeah, it's geez, Blitz, come on, don't know anything about our sponsors here. It's a voice chat communication thing. Yeah.
Okay, so he's actually just going to use the treants to try to block out the camp, which he did, which was pretty nice, but at the same time, he could have done that with one of the other trees. So now effectively,
action on the Windrunner bottom. Actually, though, she is going to go down. The double slow coming out from the Venomancer and the right click damage from Anti-Mage is going to be enough to get that early kill. Kind of a little bit questionable by the Windrunner coming up that far. She didn't end up placing a ward off to the left side to give vision, and because of that, she didn't really know what was going on. She knows she's against the dual slow with the Venomancer and Enchantress. She had to expect them to be there, and it actually didn't even take an Enchantress creep to get that kill, so it's a little bit sloppy.
Yeah, I think she should have just sat back until she knew for sure what the lanes were. She had to assume that the Enchantress is in the bottom jungle, and I mean, they're not just going to let a Venomancer or an Anti-Mage solo bot without any sort of support, so... But I think she just got a little cocky because there's no stun down there. She felt that she could survive with Windrun, and I think she might have been able to, but the DD was way too much damage.
I don't know. With the 2 slows on her, even her Windrun running out, I think she...
regardless, it was a questionable play.
Yeah. Meanwhile, though, the Shadow Demon actually doing a little bit of harassment on Leshrac. He's actually completely out of mana, though. He really spent his mana early. Usually you don't go for too much harassment with Shadow Poison until you have 2 points in it. The level 1 doesn't do that much damage, even if you do manage to get 4 stacks. Although, I guess against the Leshrac that has no health, it does a fair amount, but still, the fact that he's out of mana now means he's not going to be able to spam Shadow Poison at this point, and it's actually going to give Leshrac a little bit easier time. He's still, if he goes for a bottle, he's still ways off getting that bottle, and otherwise he's going to certainly have mana problems, whereas the Leshrac is already on his bottle and heading to a regen rune, which must be nice.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that Hani went for the stun lightning combo. Recently we've been seeing lightning actually completely phase out of the metagame and people instead just going stats, but maybe because he doesn't think he can solo kill the Shadow Demon without it. Because as soon as he goes on him with Edict, the Shadow Demon should just disrupt him and run away, but still. Yeah, he gets a kill that equates to a tower.
Yeah, and with the Furion coming, even if the Shadow Demon does disruption, you can just sprout him and have time. Although the Shadow Demon was smart enough to make sure that he had Tango. I guess, yeah, he's just kind of content to farm in this lane rather than actually try to get the kill at the tower, which the Lightning can do. I mean, it's not completely out of the metagame. The Russians are actually still maxing Lightning, or at least getting a few points in it. But typically you would do that actually after 1 point Edict. But I guess or 1 or 2 points in edict. Although actually they do the 1 point edict, which I really don't like. Obviously, like I said, the second point edict doubles the amount of damage it does, so it kind of feels silly not to get that. But it looks like Enchantress is going to come in bottom here with a Wolf and the Troll, and the only reason you'd be doing this is if you were planning on pushing, so it looks like they will be going for this early tower. Ring of Health out on the anti-mage. There's actually no Basilius down here, which hopefully they would be setting themselves on a hopefully upgraded courier soon enough if they do plan on taking this tower.
Yeah, Venom's actually going to pick up his boots right now. Enchantress also has the money for it, so the supports actually got off to a really good start here. Windrunner only has mana for 2 power shots, and at level 3 it shouldn't be enough to stop this. Yeah, she's actually just going to get phased out with Gale. Venom has wards out already, so we should see a tower going down shortly, and that's just going to be a really, really good start for our Fnatic support heroes.
Yeah, meanwhile, actually, there's going to be a little action at the top. Runefly getting found by a double damage Chen. Chen actually not getting the troll trap off, though. Fly is going to try TPing, but he's just going to TP right through the sprout, or through the ensnare, and makes it back to his tower. Meanwhile, though, No-Tail actually taking a lot of damage from the tower. Oh, Power Shot actually is going to finish him off. Overcommitting a little bit there, not being very careful, decided not to pop the Nature's Attendance. This might have been questionable, thought he would make it out, and Windrunner capitalized with a precisely aimed power shot that really shouldn't have been 1 versus 3, so a bit sloppy by Fnatic as well.
Yeah, that's actually going to slow down their push incredibly badly. This tower should actually survive until the 6 or 7 minute mark now, which is a really big coup for Meow, because I assume they just thought it was going to be taken at the 3 minute mark with the enchant. What I think the enchant should try to do, though, is if she does have a pack of smokes, and the Gale is enough of a slow, she should try to come from behind with a troll or a sun creep, and try to pick off a kill and push the tower rather than just going straight up. Because then she's just going to, the Windrunner knows what she has to do, and she's just going to continuously power shot the front.
Yeah, I agree completely, and I still insist that not having the Bassi down there is kind of a poor choice. Also, I don't know, just not having an upgraded courier at this point in the game is also a little bit questionable, especially with all the early gold that the supports got for getting that kill on the Windrunner. Obviously, getting fast boots is going to make it easier to play aggressive on the Windrunner, which is what Nova can do now since he has those early boots on the Venomancer, but he's got 420 gold, 430 gold, so upgrading that courier would be nice. I'm experienced sitting on 800, would be happy to have his ring into a Bassi as well. There's plenty that the courier could be doing if it had been upgraded. And meanwhile, actually, the courier flying back from mid to Shadow Demon, I'm surprised he actually didn't bottle crow that, since he's still a minute from the rune, but there's enough items on the courier going down into the Windrunner that I guess he's consented on to that. The Windrunner is actually going to be the first one to pick up a Bassi, so she's going to have that, which is going to make it a little easier to stop this push, although not that much, but it'll certainly help and give her some mana regen for some more power shots.
Yeah. But what I was talking about earlier, though, I don't know if you can actually see the drawing, but if she does that with the Veno, or the Veno can actually just stay in the front, and they push out, it's actually a lot easier for them, so they just don't get directly power shotted repeatedly, and it forces the Windrunner back at minimum. But instead, No-Tail plays a little too aggressively, and he's going to get picked off. So.
Yeah. I unfortunately cannot see your drawings.
Oh, really?
But
you can't?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just assume. They come from the
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. So.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, a little bit of action on fly top, but kind of poor coordination there. The Ancient Apparition. Oh, and actually, they're going to go on the Windrunner bottom. Windrun is going to wear out now. The attendants are going to keep them safe diving this tower, and the Windrunner is definitely going to go down. The Anti-Mage probably getting the last right click. Yeah, he does, and the attendants are going to keep healing him up anyway. And the tower is probably going to go down here. They don't actually have a creep wave, but it will be coming in about 2 seconds. They've got enough wards up, and they will just be content to tank this tower. Era has a salve anyway, so it doesn't really matter how much damage he takes here with the Ring of Health and the salve. He's going to be back up to full in no time, and gets the last right click on the tower, which is going to give him a really fast Vanguard if that is what he decides to go for.
And he's got 1,500 gold now, so he does have some options. He could just go for a quick Battle Fury, but looking at their lineup, I assume he's just going to go for tank with a Vanguard and then just straight rush a Manta. Or he might even just go like a Yasha BKB, that's pretty popular nowadays. But something interesting to look at, the Night Stalker just picked up his Urn. He's level 5, which is a good level for where he's at in the dual lane. And this first night is really going to set the tone for Meow. If they can get off running with this first night, then it's going to be really good for them. I mean, obviously, but if the first night goes terribly for them, the heroes that Fnatic has with the Leshrac and the Furion, they're going to concede way too much map control.
And looks like they are going to take this opportunity to go on Fly top. Fly is going to get snapped up, so he is going to die here regardless. Actually, the last hit coming from the stomp on the Chen. Nice micro there to last hit the hero with a stomp. Not sure if it was necessary, but entertaining nonetheless. And they are going to turn this into a push on this tower. They have enough creeps with the 2 centaurs. This will easily be a bid tower here. So actually, basically, I don't know exactly what they needed to do that you were talking about in the beginning of this first night, although that wasn't even so much of a night thing. I mean, that would have happened regardless of whether it was night or not, from the slow being long enough with the AA. But yeah, and the great thing about this is actually AA is almost level 6 now too, which is going to make it very easy to get ganks. Furion actually is going to, after dying, TP in here on the Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon running away does have boots, but he's going to get caught by the stun. Nice stun by the Leshrac. Edict's going to come out, Sprout as well, and Shadow Demon is very, very dead. And looks like they might try to turn this into a push on the tier 1 tower. Fly does have 3 points in Nature's Call and finally a Bastia for his team. So it would be a pretty easy push here, although only 2 points in Edict won't be that much damage to the tower, but enough still, I assume, to take this.
Yeah, and at bottom, Era actually picked up on first, so it looks like he's going to the super rising anti-mage, as that's the pretext to a Battle Fury, unless he's doing some sort of crazy Lincoln strat that I've never heard of.
AL going to fly in mid, going to hit the Furion. There's a nice split there coming from Hani and the Furion. Night Stalker, though, is probably at phase boots up. There's no way he's not going to catch Hani here. He's going to use his phase boots. The women are coming from the side. 2 levels in Shackle Shot. Enchantress does, I guess, the smart thing. He throws out a slow, but it's not really going to do anything, and she's going to pay for it with her life. Hani not able to do anything here, so actually not the smart thing from Enchantress at all. Hani probably will make it out, though, so I guess it's worth it having the Enchantress die instead of the Leshrac. There's a chance Leshrac might have made it away there, getting a lot of movement speed from those arcane boots, but irrelevant anyway. Since he does, and the Enchantress pays for it with her life. But yeah, as I was saying before, that kind of action in the mid, having the Ancient Apparition get an early level 6 too, which is typically why Ancient Apparitions used to be mid, is going to make it really easy for the Night Stalker ganking. It's going to guarantee that he can kill anyone, even the Enchantress, and it's just going to add a lot of extra burst damage when he finds heroes, with the Ancient Apparition being able to throw that all over the map, despite where they might be. And yeah, as far as Era goes with the Battle Fury, I don't know, it's impossible for me to resist. I'm an extremely greedy player in basically everything I play. Like in StarCraft, I'm always going for fast expansions. Or as fast as possible. So I completely understand where he's coming from, just to kind of win your head, get further ahead. But I guess it does kind of show that, well, either he's not on the same page as the rest of his team, or they are kind of content to turn this into a slightly longer game and not go for the fast push with the Vanguards, possibly the Vlads.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's a really good fallback procedure for Fnatic. If things go terribly wrong, or just something doesn't pan out in their favor, they always have the anti-mage with the Battle Fury that'll catch up.
Yep, and looks like there is going to be a dive on the bottom tower here. Sorry to cut you off. Chen coming from behind, going to get the ensnare on Anti-Mage. Anti-Mage silenced up. Purge coming out from the Shadow Demon, and Anti-Mage melts quite quickly. Unfortunately, not having much health going in his fast Battle Fury build, and no treads yet, means he is a pretty easy target for a hasted Shadow Demon, along with a very fast Night Stalker.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked that he decided to stay down there. After they took mid-tower, it was only natural that Meow was going to go bottom and try to force the pushes forward since they're strong right now with Knight. And he actually farmed until for 30 seconds before he decided back, but with only 1 level in Blink, there's no way he's getting out of that.
Yeah, it's possible he could have blinked off to the side and just insta-TP'd, and if the Shadow Demon didn't know exactly where he'd gone, hadn't used the Shadow Poison to get vision, maybe the TP would have come out in time before the Night Stalker was able to get the Void. And mass TPs coming up top, so Meow really try-harding the hell out of this. But Chen is actually the first one to get in. He's going to TP back. Night Stalker will certainly catch Hani here. Hani going to be in a lot of trouble. Windrunner coming up, going to try to land a power Shackle Shot. There's actually not going to be anything to Shackle. She's just going to go for the power shot instead. No, it does go for the Shackle because he runs the trees, and that is going to be a really dead Hani. So nice moves in here from Meow, actually. Putting a lot more into this than I kind of expected. Really giving Fnatic a run for their money.
Yeah, I feel like Fnatic, though, is just, they're making a lot of misplays, and they're being slightly out of position, which is leading to their deaths. Against Night Stalker and Knight, if he gets a TP in, he's going to catch somebody. So as soon as the TP comes in, a TP out is pretty common. And I mean, Meow isn't just going to let Fnatic push to tier 2 like that. So as soon as the anti-mage went down, and they saw them back off the bottom after they got the tower, Fnatic should have gone off and stopped pressuring top, especially for tier 2 like that. So these are just really obvious ganks that Meow's doing, and somehow it's actually working against Fnatic.
Yeah, it might be just one of those situations where you're kind of just underestimating the team you're playing against, just kind of not considering that they're also thinking about what they might do, and just want to impose your will regardless. The Anti-Mage is still farming pretty well, though, despite obviously the early death. Does have his treads up as well as the Prez, and is only about 1,500 gold away from getting the Battle Fury. So still looking on a good timing for that Battle Fury, probably around the 14 or 15 minute mark, assuming things continue at this rate. Although they are going to start to put some pressure down on bottom on him. Actually, equal exchange on towers so far. All 3 tier 1 towers down for both teams. So making it a little bit more difficult for the Anti-Mage to safely farm because there's nowhere for his team to TP down here. But good warding from Nova. Does see the Dyer's roaming down here. They're able to back up and just waste the Dyer's time. And they do have Furion for some great split push, so it's going to make it difficult for the Dyer to actually commit to pushing one location without the threat of Leshrac and Furion just destroying their tower somewhere else faster than they can take one down.
Yeah, Meow is kind of being a little indecisive here. The style they're playing right now is just counter-react, but against an Anti-Mage, you kind of just have to take the game by the reins and just get something started. Because right now, if you notice, they just wasted about 30-40 seconds standing around mid. They weren't really sure what they were going to do. They didn't know who they were going to gank, but now it's going to be split pressure constantly. And Anti-Mage is he's just going to camp at bottom, and so I don't really know what Meow's going to do here because they're playing way too indecisively against an Anti-Mage. Anti-Mage is one of those heroes that if you let him, he's just going to split push you to death. And that's kind of what's happening right now. This is the strength of Fnatic's lineup.
And the Anti-Mage and the Furion, obviously. The Furion actually I just realized, went for an early hand of Midas, so his farm is going to be quite substantial as well as his levels, equally importantly. So he and the Anti-Mage are going to scale extremely well, and Nova is, of course, stacking these camps for the Anti-Mage as well. They're actually going to take it with the help of the Enchantress even before Anti-Mage gets the Battle Fury, so that's going to be nice experience in gold for all of them. And if Anti-Mage gets most of his last hit, it's really going to get him to an even faster Battle Fury. Meanwhile, though, Nightstalker does pick up a Vanguard, and that's, for Phase Boots earn in Vanguard, that's actually some pretty good timing. What is his gold per minute at? 342, not bad at all. I mean, he was in the basically free farm-ish lane, so, I mean, that's kind of expected, but still, it's certainly nice timing.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised, though, that Meow didn't take more advantage of the first night. They did get 2 towers and a kill, but I feel like they should have gone for more. Other than that, Fnatic is just trying to get into a farming fest with Meow. Not much else is going to happen. Their goal pretty much is just to wait for Anti-Mage to get farmed. And once he does, they're just going to laugh at them. They don't have enough stuns on the other team to keep him down if he gets a BKB either, so...
Yeah, BKB or Manta both going to be extremely effective against the Dyer's team, pretty much all relying on getting a shackle shot off, being the only thing that can actually hold down the Anti-Mage, which is a good thing. Whoa, I just actually took a look at it. Take a look at Era's skill build, actually. Really, I mean, generally we would say you hold off, but actually he hasn't held off on skilling things. He's just gone for a lot of points in stats. He actually has 3 points in stats. What do you think about that?
It kind of got popular for a little bit. It was the 1-1-1 build where you get 1 level of Blink, then the Spell Shield, then the Mana Break, and then you go pure stats. Until, actually, yeah, he's actually doing what was a pretty common build way back when, but it's one of those really farm fest ones. And actually, they're going to pick up a kill on Nature's Prophet, who goes down actually really fast with just a Void and an AAL, but... That build that you see in Anti-Mage, it was just to make him a little more tanky and beefy.
Oh, actually there is some action over mid. Shackle Shot landing on the Enchantress. Enchantress getting a lot of DPS down. Purge is going to pop, but she actually just barely survives. Power Shot going to miss. She is going to make it out of here. And they're just going to back off. Arcane Boots up on the Shadow Demon, so he's just going to Arcane Boots back up his team. Sorry, continue with what you were saying?
Oh, I was just going to say that it makes him really useful, actually, and really tanky and hard to gank. But at the same time, you commonly see that. You really see it when teams decide not to get Vanguard and Anti-Mage, just so he has the equivalent HP as well. But I mean, it's a little shocking that I'm seeing this right now, because it did kind of get phased out just because Mana Break is so good, and so is Spell Shield for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, obviously, it's good for kind of giving him more survivability and a little bit more attack, right-click, etc. But yeah, he does lose pretty much all the mana break. I mean, 1 point in mana break is 28 mana, which isn't insignificant, but it's also not that much. Nightstalker actually in a lot of trouble up here top, but it's just barely going to make it out thanks to the speed from his Phase Boots and level 3 in his passive. He's going to earn himself and actually try to come back in. Shadow Demon getting the Purge off and the Disruption on Hani. Hani going to be in a lot of trouble here. Shackle Shot, I assume, going to come out, not actually going to latch anything, but Hani's going to go down to the Power Shot anyway. Meanwhile, Ancient Apparition chasing after the Fury and Night Stalker is going to get a Void. Void plus Cold Snap is definitely going to get a death for Fury. Fury does manage to tree himself, but the AA just decides to throw an ult in. Wouldn't have mattered since he was frozen, wouldn't be able to TP out anyway. And they would turn this into a push on the tier 2 tower, but they actually have missed the creeps, so they're going to get backdoor protected if they run up here. Although actually one more creep will die, and then maybe they will be able to take this, but no, they're just going to back up anyway. Windrunner teleporting bottom to prevent the anti-mage from continuing to farm, but the anti-mage does have his Battle Fury, so he's just going to content himself to go into the woods now and basically farm extremely quickly.
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised that the Night Stalker tried to TP out there, considering that Lesh still had stun. He should have just popped Knight and ran, but in the end it worked out for him. He got really lucky there. The last tick of Edict didn't hit him. He got out with less than 100 HP, pops the urn, turns around. Really nice play by him. But at the same time, while that was going on, that just provided more and more time for the anti-mage to farm. And without the Night Stalker being there, there's no real way to kill him or gank him or stop his farm. So he's just going to constantly pressure bottom, and it's actually at 162 health if you look.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's going to be a free tower for right all day. Take the tower bottom, and then once that happens, I mean, I don't really see a way that Meow wins, because Anti-Mage is just going to camp bottom. They really need to do something about him with the next Knight, though.
And it looks like there's going to be a gank coming in here on the Windrunner. Shackle Shot, nope, not actually going to do it. Windrunner, she's just dead. There's no way she's getting out of here. Nice Shackle Shot, actually, on the Anti-Mage and the Furion. Whoa, is she actually? No. There's no way they're going to let her try to fog them in there, and she's just going to go down to
feed Anti-Mage some more gold.
Yeah. Yeah, again, just kind of being a little bit over-aggressive there. Probably shouldn't have come down this far when they didn't have vision of basically anyone on the map except for the Leshrac top. They had to know that the rotation would be coming, at least from the Furion, if not from the supports as well.
Yep, and the death of this tier 2 tower, though, is going to be terrible for Meow. It's just going to let the anti-mage pressure in constantly. And what that's going to mean is that Meow actually can't leave their base or push or gank without anti-mage being dead, because he's going to push faster than they are with Battle Fury.
Oh. Action on the Hani bottom. Hani got voided up, and he is probably going to go down. Shadow Poison, one stack actually, but it'll be enough when it pops, and he does end up getting split between the Dire. So just some aggressive play coming out from Meow there, and they will finally take this tier 2 tower top as well. But meanwhile, Fnatic's not done pushing bottom. They're going to keep going in. They've got a ton of trees from the Furion. The Leshrac isn't here, so they don't have a lot of tower damage. Shackle Shot is going to latch the anti-mage to the Furion, but basically just buying time. Power Shot does come out. Going to fly in. It's going to hit No Tail, actually, which is going to be really bad. Nature's Attendant's not going to do anything here, but they're going to have to hit him one more time. Power Shot, I would assume, just gotta instantly shoot that and then stop it. Just even just touching No Tail would have been enough to shatter him there, but that doesn't happen, and they are able to defend this tower. But tier 2 tower trade, but yeah, like you said, it's going to be beneficial for Fnatic anyway. So I don't know, still going to be in a lot of trouble regarding this anti-mage, who will be I don't know, closing in on his Manta in about 5 or 6 minutes with the Battle Fury farm, and once he has that Manta, he will be basically ungankable even by the Night Stalker.
Yeah, this is actually going terribly now for Meow. They really need to decisively do something at night. They either need to try to gank the anti-mage or just all-out push with a wipe. There's really no other options here against an anti-mage. You just have to play really, really, really decisively and hope that things pan out.
Yeah, taking a look, Furion actually has 2,300 gold, so saving up here probably will just go into Hex. I don't see Mech coming out on his team, but obviously against Ancient Apparition, Mech not necessarily optimal. So we'll have
He's actually going to grab a medallion for damage.
Yeah, sure. It grabs a medallion, makes sense with an anti-mage on your team, and will allow them to quickly steal Roche if they ever get the opportunity, which is certainly not irrelevant. Meanwhile, though, any other items on their team, the Enchantress obviously just has the Urn and Arcane Boots. Hani going for the, maybe not exactly the God build, or the G build, but it's at least going to go for the disassembling Arcane Boots into Bloodstone, and then probably BKB after that, if not the Travels.
Yeah, and I'm actually really surprised that he maxed Lightning and he still doesn't have any levels in Pulse Nova. This is a really old school Lesh build, where I assume level 11 and 12 he will get his ult and he'll just keep his stun at 2, and he'll just let somebody set up for him. But considering that he is their initiating stun, there's nothing else for them aside from Gale.
Yeah, I wonder. Well, I mean, they do have a decent initiation with the Void, obviously, even if it's not stun, it is slow, it makes it pretty easy. So. Oh, wait, no, that's, yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Just got turned around there because seeing the guy come in Void. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, Gale is, even though it is a good flow, is pretty short range, so it's going to be difficult to actually initiate with. And to agree, actually, No-Tail doing a good job sending the Wolf here to help Era clear this camp. Era getting really low life, though, is actually probably going to have to send himself a salve, because the regen from the Battle Fury isn't actually going to be enough if he keeps farming neutrals like this. But does already have the Asha up and 1,200 gold, so like I said, well on his way to Manta. Fly just going to TP out top here. Was smart. Oh, Shackle Shot barely in time. A half second left, and Power Shot is going to finish him off. So, I mean, smart play there by Fly, baiting out the Void from the Night Stalker, and then just casting the actual TP, or using the TP item. Oh, although Anti-Mage gets a kill on the Ancient Apparition bottom. He is not going to Shatter. No, with his Treads and Strength, he has plenty of health. So, I don't really know. What happened with the Ancient Apparition there? How did he get caught out like that?
I think Anti-Mage just baited him out, and I mean, he has a Battle Fury, so he 4-shotted him.
Yeah, and I guess I was wrong. When you have someone like No-Tail playing support on the Enchantress, you don't even need to worry about getting a salve as the Anti-Mage, coming in with the attendance and an Urn Charge after the kill on the Ancient Apparition does grant No-Tail 2 Urn Charges, is actually just going to make Anti-Mage farm that much faster. And No-Tail is keeping this Alpha Wolf right-clicked on Era, which really makes a lot easier for him to clear these camps. That's really nice support. They really are focusing everything on this Anti-Mage, and rightfully so.
Yeah, and the big thing here is No-Tail's actually been stacking the huge creep camp for Anti-Mage, and he's going to have the Wolves and the Fury and Treants to just tank for him, so this actually should be the majority of his Manta here. Yep, 1,800, 2,300. Actually, I think that's actually going to complete it for him. Or he'll be just short, but regardless, 22-minute Manta, Battle Fury Treads, that's fantastic farm. He's actually just going to be able to free push now, and they're not going to be able to do anything about it. That or he's going to pick up a BKB to be more relevant in team fights, but it looks like he's just going to go for an old-school Anti-Mage build here, but...
Oh, Night Stalker trying to gank him, but actually doesn't get the slow or the silence off in time, and Era is just going to TP out. Void will not be on cooldown or off cooldown in time, and Anti-Mage will be happy to pick up his Manta. I mean, playing against a Night Stalker, Manta is such an easy item to go for. I mean, gives enough defensive ability, even similar to what the BKB would, while giving additional pushing power and DPS in team fights. And there's just not a lot of disable. I mean, on the Dire, there is the Disruption, obviously, which is strong against him, but I don't know. I guess he just doesn't care. I think he's just going to keep Rising, so the Manta's fine, because he doesn't really care about team fighting. Although maybe they will push, although I don't imagine they're going to go for anything base. Maybe just try to take a couple tier 2 towers if they can, continue split pushing endlessly.
Yeah, Era's actually just going to continue to ignore the other team. He's going to push out mid, and if Meow actually decides to commit to the bottom push, they're going to lose the tier 2 tower mid. So they have to decide now what they're going to do. And it looks like they're just going to continue to go, and I don't know if this is the right decision, though, because Era's just going to take a tower faster than they are. And a 1-for-1 trade right now isn't going to be good for them.
Yeah, and in fact, at this rate, they're actually going to, I mean, Fnatic's going to get a move into the base if they want. They'll be happy to try to kind of race with Meow. They'll easily get this tier 3 tower well in time. Probably around the same time that Meow starts TPing back, this tower's going to basically die. So the glyph is actually already out, and this is a really bad trade. Radiant Fortification, actually, so they take the tier 3 tower before the tier 2 tower of theirs goes down. And this is a horrible trade for Meow, losing actually 2 towers, including a base tower, which is going to make them in a lot of trouble here. It's going to mean that the Anti-Mage or Fury can constantly pressure that lane and threaten their racks, which is a terrible situation to be in against an Anti-Mage at 24 minutes.
Yeah, and actually, Night Stalker's picked up a pipe here instead of going any sort of damage at him. So it looks like they're just going for the all-out team fight. What Meow hopes to do here, and which I don't think will happen, but what they're going to hope for is some sort of prolonged team fight where Anti-Mage is also involved and they somehow win it and push to win, but Fnatic is just kind of running them in a circle here. They are occasionally losing 1 or 2 heroes getting picked off, like Leshrac or Furion, but at the same time, they haven't actually been able to pick off the Anti-Mage since minute 6. So he's just going to continuously split push anytime anybody comes at him, just going to Manta out, blink away, and continue the process all over again.
Yeah, a gem actually coming. Whoa, Nova has 5 wards on him. It's been a while since he's placed those wards, huh? And has picked up a gem as well. So he's basically going to remove all the vision from Meow on the map, which is going to make it extremely difficult for them to actually set up a favorable or set up a team fight at all, which is obviously what they want to do. Although if they are going to catch the Furion out here, I don't imagine. Well, is actually Fnatic might commit to fighting this, but I think that would actually be a pretty bad idea for them. They should probably just back out, and yeah, Nova's going to die. Era thinking about jumping in, but realizes no, that would be a mistake. Nova does throw out the ult before going down, but the pipe is going to completely counteract that. And Furion's just going to buy back, and I assume TP top, since the top tower is about to go down. Yep, and he is TPing there. So they're going to lose that tower, and that is going to be all the outer towers. Meanwhile, Anti-Mage is just going to push in bottom. So, yeah, kind of careless again by Fnatic. They're getting 2 caught out instead of just 1, but it doesn't really matter since, again, there's absolutely nothing Meow can do with it. Getting kills is nice and all, but unless the kills translate into something, it doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, this is one of those Navi-style strategies that Fnatic is doing. They're just taking towers, farming along with it, getting huge. And Meow is getting kills. You know, they're able to pick off people, but they're not really getting the team fight they're looking for. And Anti-Mage is just constantly pressuring them. And right now, there's no way that Meow can actually just push bottom where Anti-Mage is camping, because then Fnatic just TP's top, pushes that, and they have to go back and repeat the cycle over and over again. And it's just one of the big issues with giving a team Furion.
Yeah. Ooh, actually, Anti-Mage did blink into a precarious spot here. There's going to be an Invis Windrunner who's going to try to shackle him through the tree. The shackle does actually not hit 10-4 positioning from the Windrunner there. If actually that shackle had hit lashed him through the tree, he probably would have died because it would have been enough time to trigger the cold snap and probably kill him, I would imagine.
But he does have 3,300 gold in the bank, so I'd imagine he just laugh at them buyback and have his team push top while he pushes bot again.
Yep. So next item pickup from him, yeah, probably just a heart, or you think he will actually go for the BKB?
I don't actually think he needs a BKB anymore. At this point, he's pretty nigh unkillable, provided that he doesn't get shackled to anything, and as long as he mantis smartly, he probably won't need the BKB. I mean, he's not really trying to get into any team fights here, which is what the BKB is necessary for. Yeah. He's probably just trying to buy team for his team constantly.
Yeah, so probably will be picking up that Reaver pretty soon, just saving buyback money for now, but as soon as he's able to cover that Reaver in, it's probably the case that he just wants to pick it up efficiently with his farming cycle, so maybe he'll do it now that he's over these Ancients. He can quickly blink over and pick that up from the Secret Shop, but actually deciding against it, just can keep farming. Doesn't even want to waste his time buying items. That's overrated when you can just get higher gold per minute.
Yeah, and you'll notice that Chen actually, I don't think he has a single creep anymore, and he hasn't for quite a while. So we're going to see the no creep right-click Chen strat.
Oh, and actually Anti-Mage finding Ancient Apparition in the wood, gonna Manta off the cold feet, but Ancient Apparition is going to be fine. He's going to get away here. And actually this means that the Anti-Mage's Manta is down, so he's kind of exposed if the Night Stalker catches him, but Meow is a little bit too busy at the time taking Roche. A really questionable decision to take Roche without any Chen creeps. I mean, sometimes I understand that you're kind of going between places and constantly there's a lot of action, so it's hard to keep up your creeps, or keep at least 3 of them, but yeah, trying to take Roche and not having any creeps is really questionable. And I guess it's the last of the night, so it's not a bad idea to take the Roche here. Although, interestingly enough, the Night Stalker pops his ultimate again. There's about 30 seconds left in the night, and usually you don't really want to do that. When the night's basically over, it's kind of time to just give it up. But I guess they want, well, in theory, they would like to do something with this Aegis, and with the end of the night here, with an actual push, but since all their lanes are constantly pressured, there's really nothing they can do, and it just kind of makes it useless.
Yeah, it actually took them so long to do that, and it conceded so much map control and farm on the field that I don't actually think that was worth it. And yeah, Anti-Mage is going to pick up the majority of his heart here. I mean, he has Intel Treads, which is probably a mistake, but at this point it really doesn't matter what he has.
He doesn't have int Treads, he has agility Treads.
He did.
Yeah, he's just swapping him when he blinks. He's been doing a really good job all game of tread swapping. He's been in strength treads when he's in a precarious position, agility treads when farming the jungle, and treads when blinking.
Yep.
I guess when you... I was going to say, I guess when you're doing nothing but farming for 30 minutes, the little
might as well do the little things right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and Leshrac sees that they're coming. AM is just going to... Well, he doesn't have a TP, but he's going to wait it out, and it doesn't look like Meow's going to try to find him. I mean, he has Blink. It's 5-second cooldown. It's not worth it for them. But they're pretty much just being right around the map. They're not getting anything decisive off. That's pretty much the story of the game for them. They're getting really frustrated with Anti-Mage just constantly split pushing, and now he's going to pop out, push top again while they push mid. They're actually going to push slower than he is again, so back to what we saw in minute 20.
Yeah, it looks like they are just going to go for this anyway. Maybe they've had enough, but it's going to be a terrible decision since the Furion and the Anti-Mage will take basically as much as they do. And Furion is actually just going to TV top, instead of deciding to push bottom as well, and then this means they're definitely going to get this tower. In fact, they're just going to get nothing for it. They're going to have to TV back here. Ult's going to fly in, but it doesn't really matter what it's going to do. AM is going to try to stay long enough to get this tower, and he is going to get it just with his Manta Illusions. Not even going to be denied. Night Stalker trying to run after, but it's daylight, so he's not going to catch anyone. Purge does come out on the Anti-Mage, but Anti-Mage blanks away. Furion TPs TP's out in time. She's using a TP scroll, not getting interrupted, and yeah, Anti-Mage is just going to go back to farming the wood. So 2 tier 3 towers down for the Anti-Mage team. And Furion actually TP's top because of all the TP's, or TP's bottom. Because of all the TP's top, he's actually going to have freedom to do a little bit of damage to this tower. He could actually, but he doesn't actually know where all of the Dire is, so he is just going to back off.
Yeah, and they're just constantly being run ragged. They're trying to be decisive, but it's way too late for them now. Because no matter what lane they go, Anti-Mage is just going to go back to the jungle, wait for them to show themselves as 5. And he's going to continually just do that. I think the only way for Meow to win this is to try to get a smoke, catch off one of the big heroes like Anti-Mage or Furion, and then just straight push to win. But I don't even know if that's possible at this point. Anti-Mage is a heart now. He has money banked up as well, and the game is such that, I mean, Meow has to play this perfectly. Like right now, okay, see, they're gonna smoke. They're just gonna try to force a team fight. They're so desperate at this point.
Yeah, they're gonna have a chance here actually mid, but no, Anti-Mage is gonna back off. They're gonna catch No Tail, but that doesn't really. No Tail actually has a 4-staff as well. It's actually 3 4-staffs up on the Radiant, using that really to get away. They realize that there's not a lot of stun at all coming out from Meow, at least no initiation stun. So all they need is 4-staffs to escape, since they've actually just spammed 4-staffs on all their team to kind of continue that just evasive play that they've been doing all game. And yeah, they smoke up and actually don't even catch one hero, which is really bad. Do force the Anti-Mage to blink back here, but the Chen is actually the one who's closest. They 4-staff for the Night Stalker, but again, it's still nighttime or daytime. He opted not to pop the ult. If he had popped the ult, maybe he would have caught the Anti-Mage, and the Anti-Mage, the Manta was off cooldown, so actually he would have been just fine.
Yeah, they're actually just going to split push repeatedly. I mean, this has been the story of the game. This is how Fnatic is going to win. I actually kind of like this. It's a really frustrating style to play against, but it's really, really smart. They're pretty much leaving no chances for them to lose. And I think Anti-Mage could come to a team fight, but at the same time, I think Fnatic is just in let's not lose mode. We've got this game in the bag. Just don't do anything stupid or get picked off, and that's what they're doing right now. They really cleaned up their play in the last 10 minutes or so. I think they've only lost 2 heroes in that time period, and that actually works out really well for an Anti-Mage based team. They are down in kills, but they have 2 tier 3 towers down. So it pretty much means that if Meow doesn't win a team fight and they try to push, Anti-Mage is just going to get racks for free.
Yeah, and I mean, even in addition to the towers, it's just because Meow has spent so much time running all over the map chasing Fnatic. Fnatic has just had a lot more efficient farm. I mean, if you take a look at the CS, AM sitting at 300 CS, that's actually almost as much as the entire Dire team combined. No Tail actually is going to finally get caught here. He's going to try to 4-staff himself somewhere, but I don't think there's any way he's getting out. He actually does destroy all the trees, so the power shot shackle shot doesn't last into anything. He is going to take enough damage. It doesn't really matter. I mean, taking off a hero like that on your half of the map isn't really going to do anything. I mean, not going to be able to turn it into a push. And I'm sure he has buyback money. Yeah, he has buyback money anyway. But yeah, so as I was saying, I mean, just the farm on Fnatic has just been so much more effective and efficient than Meow's, that they've just gained such gold advantage, even in that, not considering the towers that they've taken. I mean, 2 heroes, either the Furion and the Anti-Mage or the Furion and the Leshrac, is actually more farm than all 5 of the Dire team.
Yeah, and actually Meow's just going to say, well, I'm tired of this. We're going to push bottom as 5. They're actually leaving 2 heroes top, so I don't know how effective this is going to be. So it looks like they're just going to push this creep wave in back, because I don't see how they're insane and thinking they're going to win a 3-on-5 fight.
Yeah, well, maybe they're counting on the fact that they'll get 2 Anti-Mages, and that hopefully is enough, but it's really not going to be.
Well, actually, what they're doing here is they're leaving 2 heroes top with their global. Chen isn't really much more than a heal at this point, and A has his ult. So hopefully that's their strategy. So Anti-Mage doesn't split push them, but Anti-Mage is actually now in the fight. It's going to go terribly from Real.
Yeah, the disruption does come up on the Anti-Mage, though. They actually are going to get some effective illusions just a little bit here, but Anti-Mage is... Oh, nice shackle shot, actually going to pull the Anti-Mage in. But still, I mean, the best case scenario that Meow is hoping for at this point is just being able to TP out, and even that's not going to happen. So they're just all going to die at this point. There's a possibility the Windrunner is smart and gets out in time, but no. 4-staff is on cooldown, and yeah, she's going to... Oh, actually, I forgot there is an Aegis for the... Whoa, interesting shackle shot there. Latching a range creep to a tree. Windrunner is going to TP out, like I said, but yeah, losing 2 heroes and an Aegis, and this is going to be the key for, or the queue for Fnatic basically just to come win the game now.
Yeah, I think Meow was kind of counting on 1 or 2 of the heroes being at top or mid trying to push out, but I mean, even then, what are you going to do with a Chen and a Chen and what was it, an AA trying to defend against an Anti-Mage or a Furion? So, I mean, But at the same time, Meow didn't really have options at this point. They're just gonna get split pushed to death, and they don't really have options against the anti-mage.
Hani gonna run in here, actually. Looked like he was gonna get the stun on Akuma, but waiting for the Fury to TP and get the Hex. Akuma's actually gonna get force-stepped out, so he's not gonna die. Nice shackle shot, actually, latching fly and no deal. There have been some nice shackle shots in this game. A's gonna fly in, but actually does not hit. No, it does hit fly. I'm not sure if it actually was the flying projectile or the actual explosion hit. Hani does get ulted by the Shadow Demon, but is just gonna force himself out. Meanwhile, Anti-Mage is actually killing basically everyone. He is cold snapped up, and he's gonna get silenced, but he has the Mantis, so it's not really gonna matter. He's gonna turn around and start right-clicking Alive. And Alive is gonna go down actually probably to the Impetus. No Tail, no, actually doesn't want to actually kill the Night Stalker, decides he would rather let him live. Just to taunt him and tell him that he gave him his life. No Tail, meanwhile, going to start impetusing the Shadow Demon. This one should barely not be enough, actually. And Cold Snap is going to, or Cold Feet is going to snap up on No Tail. No Tail is going to be frozen, but it doesn't really matter. There's no one here to kill him. And the Racks are going to most likely go down to the Edict damage. Alive actually TPing in might be enough to get the kill on Fury. Void coming up, Silence, and the negative burn charge, but Fly is just going to force step himself out. The fight's still continuing. Anti-Mage actually does pick up the Shadow Demon. Venomancer getting the kill on the Windrunner. Alive actually does get stunned up after the Venomancer goes down. Meanwhile, though, Anti-Mage is still here, still right-clicking and burning everyone's mana. Alive is about to lose all his in about 2 seconds. He is basically useless now. Meanwhile, Akuma is getting chased down by Hani. Impetus is going to fly and actually finishes off Akuma as well. Meanwhile, Anti-Mage right-clicking down the creeps in the base. Doesn't really even care anymore. The melee Rax is down, and Furion actually TPing back in. I guess he used the TP scroll to get back out, and came back in, or it might have been 20 seconds ago, I don't really know. Does get the Hex on Meow. Sprout going to come up. Meow does force herself out. Impetus can do a lot of damage there, because even if you wind run after the Impetus is in flight, it does not prevent the original damage. And meanwhile, Leshrac and Anti-Mage have rotated top, taking the melee Rax down. And yeah, looks like that's basically going to be game.
And they're going to take 2 sets of Rack here. I don't even see any sort of way that Meow can win. They did do a nice job early with their ganks, and they got up to a decent lead, but they didn't really compound it into towers, which is what really matters in this metagame right now. So Fnatic was behind in kills here and there for the majority of the game. They actually just tied it up, and they wiped them like twice, but it was really the towers that mattered at this point.
Just towers and kind of being efficient with farm. TPing actually back to Shadow Demon so he could stand up, but it doesn't really matter. And yeah, Fnatic is going to end this game. So yeah, just once again, thanks everyone for watching this. We will be bringing you another game shortly here. There's not really any that amazing round 2 matches, but we'll try to find the best one we can. Hopefully a little bit more entertaining than this. I mean, it was actually a little bit better than I expected. Meow, like you said, did get off to a good start and actually showed that they might have a chance of taking this game, but then Fnatic basically just got into serious mode and basically decided that they would play a completely different game than Meow was capable of playing, and took the game in decisive fashion thanks to their extreme farming. And yeah, I mean, that's basically it. So once again, I'd like to actually say thanks to our sponsors, Raidcall, MSI, Steel Series, and Ezio. And thanks to Fnatic for letting us cast this tournament. We will finish casting this game, obviously, but just wanted to say all that before it was over and before I forgot.
Yep. No. Run. Those anti-mage illusions are so good.
Yeah, they really are. Disruption's so good against anti-mage. It doesn't really matter when he's actually this strong. Even if you have strong anti-mages, he has stronger anti-mage.
I mean, he never got into a team fight, so...
Yeah, exactly.
They were never able to fully utilize it.
Yeah, I mean, things are super hard right now. It's just Prophet actually getting the kill here, and Impetus is going to finish off the Windrunner. Butterfly up on the anti-mage. I wonder what its gold per minute ended up being. Only 622, honestly. It wasn't that impressive given how much effort was put into it. I mean, not that he did a bad job, he did a great job. But I mean, with the amount of stacking and everything that went, came out from his team, the amount of effort they were putting into his farm, I was kind of hoping it would be something in the 800 region, but guess wasn't meant to be here. A little, I mean, the fact that he got killed early on kind of slowed it down just a little bit, such and such. Yeah, not playing more. Yeah, so that's it. Good game to both teams. It was a pleasure to watch. Thanks for casting with me, Blitz. Like I said, we will be right back. And yeah, stay tuned in.